Well, how wonderful it is to be able to address you today at this Women's Conference of the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. First of all, it's such an inspiration to see so many Asian American women business owners. And it is so wonderful to see so many hoteliers from around the world, and I know that this conference, and from the United States, and I know this conference will be a great opportunity for you. I understand it's quite a privilege for me to be able to address you, since you don't have this particular conference here in Southern California that often. So the honor is totally mine that I get to be here with you today. And I am especially happy to be here because I know that AAHOA gets results. As a senior member of the Small Business Committee and chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, I came to know AAHOA and its members very well because we were able to work together on a bill that would improve the lives of small business owners across the nation, and I was so proud to be your ally in that effort. So let me tell you this story. It was about the fact that there was once a very successful program to allow business owners to refinance their real estate loans at today's lower interest rate, but that program was allowed to expire, and it was AAHOA that said, we have to revive this effort. Now, you may think that actually reaching an agreement and passing legislation in Washington, D.C. these days is almost impossible. But thanks to years of determination from AAHOA, we were able to pass this bill, which will indeed benefit small businesses like yourselves. You know, at the beginning, it seemed almost impossible. I know that there was many hurdles ahead, but as the former ranking Democrat on the Access to Capital Subcommittee in the Small Business Subcommittee, or the Small Business Committee in the House, I knew that having access to capital was one of the most significant hurdles facing small business owners today. And that's why, indeed, in Congress after Congress, I worked with AAHOA in introducing the Commercial Real Estate and Economic Development Act, what we call the CREAD Act, to do exactly that, to use the Small Business Administration's 504 loan refinance program to allow small businesses to refinance their old expensive commercial loans to today's low interest rates. When the program was indeed a pilot in 2012, there were over 2,700 businesses, including many hotel owners like you, that refinanced nearly $7 billion in old, expensive debt. It was clearly a popular program. Yet despite the success of this program in its trial year, reinstating it took a multi-year effort and an uphill battle. The challenge of reaching an agreement in a historically partisan and divided Congress meant that it was certainly not a certainty that we would find success. At one point, we even faced opposition from both the majority party and the minority party. Usually, when both parties are against something, that's the end of a bill. But that's when AAHOA came into action. AAHOA organized a monumental effort on Capitol Hill, going to office after office, year after year, both Democrats and Republicans, and steadily and surely gaining sponsor and co-sponsor to make the bill viable. And in fact, this included bringing over 200 AAHOA members to go to those congressional offices, and also having a meeting with the SBA administrator. would say that you probably put over hundreds of hours on the Hill doing that. That's no small task. And it's not easy for the average person to do that. Many people are very intimidated by walking into a congressional person's office and trying to make a pitch about a bill. But you had determination. You went to both Democrats and Republicans, and together we changed minds by highlighting the benefits of this program. And so, while we were doing that, while all this advocacy was going on, we still didn't see a pathway to making the CREAT Act law. But finally, we were able to team up with colleagues on the Senate side. Senator Shaheen on the Senate Small Business Committee, who said, yes, I see the value of this program. And with this push, we were able to change the mind of the chair of the Small Business Committee on the House side, and that's Steve Chabot. And then, just days before an omnibus spending bill was brought to the floor, the CREAT Act was added to it. Now, why is this significant? When you have an omnibus bill, a bill with all kinds of things in it that helps to make government run, it's what we call a must-pass bill. We know that it's going to pass the House. So what many people do is they want to add certain bills to it, knowing that if it's added, it's certain to pass. We call this the Christmas tree bill because it yields gifts for many. Well, you know what? That work paid off. Our chairman, Steve Chabot, agreed to do that. So did our ranking member, Nydia Velasquez. And in December of 2015, the CREAT Act was passed into law and went into effect the following June. How about that? Well, within months, small businesses started refinancing millions of dollars worth of loans. And it was thanks to AAHOA. You showed that grassroots efforts work. By showing up, by reaching out to all offices and doing that advocacy on the Hill, you made the difference and helped to make the CREAT Act law. And that's good because we're going to need that grassroots effort again as we look ahead to tax reform. Now, I have some news to tell you about this tax reform, and that is I'm going to be in the middle of it. You see, at the beginning of this year, I had a wonderful promotion. I was promoted to the powerful House Ways and Means Committee, which is something I've been working towards for 8 years. And why? Because the Ways and Means Committee, well, it refers to the ways you raise the means to fund government. And so, this committee has jurisdiction over much of what Congress does: healthcare, trade, Social Security, human resources, and of course, tax reform. Now, it was not easy. I told you I spent 8 years trying to get on this committee. For many years, there were very few women. And even though it's a substantial committee, people don't like to get off that committee, so openings hardly ever come up. And so there were virtually, really, no women. When there was an opening earlier this year, I decided to go for it. And as a result, I got in there after heavy lobbying, and now I am the first Asian American woman to be on the Ways and Means Committee. And so there's so much that is ahead of us. And of course, the big issue now, tax reform. We definitely need to pursue tax reform, considering we haven't had comprehensive tax reform since, can you believe it, 1986. It's been decades. But there are some priorities that I have. I want to have a tax reform that doesn't simply give tax breaks to the wealthy, because we have a huge middle class in this country that really desperately needs help. So I want to make sure that there is a tax reform that will give middle class persons in this country tax relief, And also, my big focus and my big specialty is that I want to have tax reform that will help small businesses succeed. And I want to make sure that it doesn't increase the deficit. I also want to make sure that those of us that are in high-cost states, and many of our communities are in the high-cost states along each side of the coast, that we don't lose the mortgage interest deduction, which is now being threatened, and that we also don't lose the ability to deduct state and local income taxes. I want to tell you that this is a threat, and if this does indeed get into the plan, we have to be prepared to fight this. Now, the other thing that I very much want is a bipartisan effort. I tell you, the reason that the 1986 tax reform bill was successful was because it was bipartisan. Democrats and Republicans worked together, and President Ronald Reagan signed the bill. Everybody agreed that it was a successful step forward. It's that dialogue between everybody in Congress that makes it successful. And it's because the repeal and replace healthcare bill was not bipartisan that it failed. So it just shows you that there must be that dialogue between Democrats and Republicans working together productively. So I hope that those who are in charge of tax reform will, in fact, reach out to all members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. That is what will make it work. That is what will make tax reform something that can be beneficial to everybody in America. And I'll be counting on your input every step of the way as we go forward in the coming months. So please, my door is open to you with any concern that you have. So thank you for inviting me here today. I look forward to continuing our strong partnership to improve our policies for our country's small business owners. Thank you for everything that you do.